Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice, all alignments. I am Loner D8. This is part 3. By the way, I just filled a prescription for prednisone. I feel like I have to get that every few months. It's not a painkiller, it's something to help with recovery. I strained my right arm again. So that should help it recover. In the meantime, I'm still going to be, as always, continuing to do my job like normal. Like I said, I don't mind my job, just the fact that I'm kind of in pain at the moment, so it kind of sucks. And prednisone is not a painkiller, so just going to be taking a decent amount of Advil for a while. It's like the 4th or 5th time this has happened the past year. Prednisone's a prescription that lasts a week. It helps your body recover, I would say faster, but in my case, it's recover at all. But yeah, hi, I'm Lunar D8. I'm not athletic at all, and just in the existence of life, or anytime I ever do try to go to the gym or work out, or even in this case, just do my fucking job. It's manual labor, mind you, but still, just doing my job and my body just breaks down. So, yay for easily getting injured and hurt just by existing or just doing my job, because apparently my body can't handle just doing my job. But that's what Advil's for. And like I said, as long as I can make enough money to pay rent, I'll never be rich. But hey, I make enough money to pay rent, and I'd say the only unnecessary expenses I ever have is getting a Steam card and getting games when they're at a heavy discount, like 90%, or fast food, or protein powder. So, or I guess in this case, I spent a little bit of money at the pharmacy for, prednisone. But not too bad. Medical insurance takes care of most of it. It's fairly cheap. It was like $4. So I can't complain about that at all. I just want to complain because I'm in physical pain, and I find it annoying. So I feel personal dissatisfaction with my own worth as a human being in regards to the fact that I'm so easily injured, and my body is in general, I feel, is too weak and too easily damaged. And in general also, physical pain makes me want to complain. I don't like physical pain. It's not cool. And it usually tends to be long-lasting. So I just wanted to bitch about being in pain, and I wanted to bitch about being, angry at myself for the fact that I'm always getting hurt just by existing. But like, what'd you do wrong today, Lunar? I woke up. I got out of bed. I work for a living, and apparently my body can't handle it. But hey, at least my current job is much better than my previous job. So, because like I said, I quit that job because I was going to have a heart attack. I was having to constantly chug energy drinks, and I'll say this, every single day I was having like 2 or 3 Advil a day, just because it was the only way my body could function with what that job was. So, in general, it's just me wanting to complain at the fact that I'm a failure of a human being, and I Can't even seem to get through working without being in pain and sore and tired and breaking down. Let alone if I ever actually managed to make any progress at the gym ever. I've never had a six-pack in my life. I'm fat. My arms are too skinny. In general, athletically, I kind of suck. I get out of breath easily. Seem to have some sort of recurring cough thing. I think my testosterone level is like 132. No, that's 137. I don't know if that makes much difference. So it's just... I just wanted to complain about being in pain. And also I wanted to complain about being a failure of a human being. So... Anyway, let's resume this. Continue. Load. Satoko was bursting with enthusiasm, so we headed to Okonomiya at full speed. We wound up waiting for Keiichi and the other club members for a long time. We got here early, but they were late. I think they were late the last time we did this too. Did it mean that this was something that was meant to happen? It's unpleasant that I can't even change the most minor of fates. I finally saw them coming towards us on their bikes. Hello, everyone. How utterly slow all of you are. Satoko acted like she was upset, but I could tell that she was pleased to see them just the same. Oh, Satoko is so cute. That's why I'll never tire of her. Hee hee. She's adorable. Satoko's behavior soothes my feelings of frustration. This is why I love Satoko. If she was a small, fluffy animal, I would definitely keep her in a cage. Does that mean she would be a bunny rabbit? Did you guys know bunny rabbits can have the zoomies just like cats and dogs, to where they want to run around? Good morning, Satoko-chan and Rika-chan. Good morning. Hey, good morning, Rika-chan. Satoko, think fast. We gotta do this quick before the cops get here. Our goal is 1 billion yen. Huh, Keiji-san? What in the world are you talking about? Are we late? When did you guys get here? It didn't take too long, so we've been waiting here for a while. Mian and Renan know that Satoko gets a checkup every Sunday at the clinic. Sorry about that. Keiichi didn't show up on time, so that's why we're late. That's Keiichi, so he's the reason they're always late. That's not really surprising. Nippa. Wait a minute. Am I the bad guy here? Of course. Of all the club members, you're the one who can play the villain. Oh ho ho. What's odd is, obviously, Minagoroshi is a parallel to the... This is Chapter 7, which is parallel to Chapter 3 to Tarigoroshi, which I'll start linking the parts of that into the description. But the other thing is, with Tanagashi started with us coming to this place and doing the little game competition, where we eventually wound up giving the stuffed animal to Rena, but that'll happen differently this time. However, the start of Tatari Groshi involved Satoko and Rika-chan coming over to Keiichi's house to help him cook, and spending a couple days basically like brother and sister. What's that supposed to mean? You better watch your mouth. Keiichi and Satoko messed around with each other. Satoko acted like she was crying and then punched Keiichi, knocking him out cold. It was the same old situation they always got into. I could watch this sort of thing forever. It's like having a glass of cold milk after taking a hot bath. Uh-huh. I could never win against her. You should get up and move before she cracks your front teeth. We all laughed at him and finished greeting each other. They're as lively as always. Nothing's more precious than one's health. You're sounding like an old lady, Rika. Shut up, who cares what you think? I'm not going to eat any sweets if you keep on saying things like that. Ow. Han, you seem to be getting more depressed than usual. I should stop teasing her so much. It was a joke. Will you get off of me? Ow. I'm sorry. Ow. Hanyu loves sweet treats. She especially loves cake and ice cream. Since she can't eat anything, she has to depend on me when it comes to that. In other words, whatever I eat, Hanyu can taste too. Even if Hanyu craves something, it doesn't mean anything if I don't eat it. In other words, I have total control of what she eats. That's why it's fun to tease her with saying that I'll eat what I'll eat and what I won't. It's almost as fun as teasing Satoko. How, you seem to be in a good mood today, Rika-chan. What are these? I understand it's Japan, but I have never seen food. Also, I guess 1983 as well, but I want to take you home. You'll be arrested if you do that, you know. Hey, Mion, the store owner is calling you. Rika, did you hear? There's to be a prize for the club activity today. I remember. Mion was going to be paying 50,000 yen out of her pocket as a prize. I couldn't believe she could just afford that. Therefore, I have to assume that she has some kind of guarantee that she won't lose. And do you know what it is? It's 50,000 yen. 50,000 yen. Satoko stared at me. Oh no. She was expecting me to be surprised to hear that the prize was 50,000 yen. It's natural to be surprised after hearing that sum, but I didn't react because I already knew it. Perhaps I gave the impression that I've known it for a long time. Keiichi-san, isn't it amazing that the prize is 50,000 yen? 50,000 yen? What the heck is that? That's like 5 years worth of Keiichi GNP. Gross national product. Satoko said the same thing to Keiichi. She probably assumed that I wasn't listening to her. So she decided to talk to Keiichi instead. Ow, ow. That was just a small mistake. I'm fine. If I get 50,000 yen, I can get a lifetime supply of soy sauce. Wait, why ever would you buy soy sauce with a prize like that? Because a certain someone always gives me a dirty look when I ask her to go and get soy sauce from the store. Nipa! You're so mean, Rika. How much soy sauce do you think you can even get for 50,000 yen? Man, I want to see. Keiichi joined the conversation, which finally brought us back to our normal pace. In order to pursue a greater happiness, I need to sacrifice a smaller one. In a perfect world, Rika Furude was supposed to be surprised to hear from her best friend that the prize was 50,000 yen. But I already knew that. I knew it from my previous lives, so all I could do was give her a boring reaction. I can't be surprised. At the big prize of 50,000 yen, I can't give her the reaction that she expects from me. I am losing the ability to be surprised. by life. And after the continual repetition of small incidents like this, there will be nothing left that I can find interesting. I'll have nothing to be surprised about. I'll never be impressed with anything. Eventually I'll lose my emotions entirely. That's why I'm always trying to be careful. I make sure I act like the Rika Furude who doesn't know anything. Even though I may not be impressed, as a young girl, Rika Furude should be impressed with many things. Rika Furude is supposed to act excited when she encounters something for the first time, instead of a 100-year-old person trapped in a never-ending time loop of getting murdered over and over. But hey, before you get murdered over and over, you get to see all your friends get murdered, or be the murderers, and then time resets. And we've been doing this for the equivalent that we're over 100 years old. We have literally been through 1,000 time loops. I try to, at least. But the more I try, the more and more I try, the more I feel like Rika Furude is someone very distant. Rika, we're slowly becoming Frederica Bernkenstel. With triple D titties. I'm sorry. I know, I'm only wasting my lifespan by feeling depressed like this. I should enjoy this life. I don't mean my lifespan literally. I'm not referring to my physical lifespan, but my mental one. The more and more I repeat the same days, the more I lose. From wonder to passion. And eventually my life will become like an overplayed videotape. If I'm tired of that tape, I have a choice to close my eyes and sleep. You guys ever see what happens when you re-record a VHS tape over and over and over again? Then again, how many of you even remember what a VCR is? Or a payphone? Or a floppy disk? By the time I wake up, the video should be over. But in reality, my life is not a beat-up old videotape. If I close my eyes and sleep, that would be my death. When my mental lifespan is over, Rika Furude will turn into a doll who can't even move a finger by her own will. When that happens, my pursuit of happiness will be over. That just sounds like depression. I don't want that to happen. It's been at least 100 years, if not more. I've been stuck in this living hell for so long. I don't want my life to end here. Sorry, I'm fine now. You must find it funny that I'm complaining about only a century. Ow, ow. I've grown used to this fate by now. Huh? Alright. I'm fine. I'm Rika Furude. I'm Rika Furude. If I don't stay focused on being Rika Furude, I'm afraid I might end up showing my true self inside of that shell. Rika Furude is supposed to be a cute and innocent little girl after all. Meep. What would you buy if you got 50,000 yen, Retta? I wonder if I can buy the Kentakun doll. Is that Colonel Sanders from KFC? Do you think they'll sell it to me if I give 50,000 yen to the fried chicken store? How? I think it'd be easier for you to buy the tools and wheelbarrow to steal the doll. I bet Renaissance could break the chain with her bare hands if she wanted to. It reminds me, there was this one game store. You guys remember Halo 2? There's a life-size replica Master Chief holding 2 SMGs. That looks pretty cool. Obviously, I'm never going to buy such a thing. It would be kind of silly, but it does look cool. Wahaha! I agree on that one. How you're all so mean. Thus we rejoined the typical flow of conversation naturally. Once I enter that flow, it's not hard for me to continue as Rika Furude. Being Rika Furude is like flying a kite for me. Once it's up in the air, it can stay in the sky for a while, but if something happens and it loses control, it's one heck of a challenge to get it back on track. Every time it tries to get back up in the air, the kite gets dragged on the ground and wears out. I'm exactly like that. Finally, Mion started clapping her hands to get everyone's attention. I already knew the rules. The members will be broken into 5 different groups, and each group plays a game that they choose together. I was secretly hoping that Mion would change the rules for some reason. There's nothing more boring than to already know what was going to happen. Mion can be very capricious. She really might change the rules. Yeah, but it seems like she's been playing this game for several days already. A strong will can be fated too, huh? Normally when we're doing club activities, Mion decides what to play at the last minute. She opens her locker and randomly decides what game to play. For that reason, our club activities are rarely repeated throughout my lives. That's why I'm never bored with them. But just as Hanyu said, today's event was something that Mion had been planning for a while. I was certain she wouldn't suggest anything spontaneously today. In that case, this won't be up to random chance. Mion had only one idea in her mind. Therefore, it was equivalent to destiny. Although her idea of having this event in the toy store is actually a spontaneous one, and all the lives I repeated, there's a very low chance for this event to occur. You shouldn't expect anything to be different. I'm not expecting it. Of course, I was lying just now. I was hoping that Mion would suggest a new rule for this game. If it was the same rules again, I'd be suffering for a few minutes while I listened to her instructions. Nothing is more frustrating than walking the same path over and over again. I mean, if I had the power to teleport, I'd probably teleport all the planet just to walk on all the bike trails in the world. That being said, I do tend to walk the same bike trail over and over and over again. The longest I've ever done the bike trail one go was about a year ago. Went 23 miles, I got lost in thought, my bad. It was also during a heat wave, 100 plus degrees Fahrenheit, a high UV, I'm pale white, no sunblock, no water. I was so sunburnt. I was limping for a couple weeks after that too. My body couldn't handle it. I even know it was just walking. But 23 miles is 23 miles. That being said, in total, if I were to add up all the times I've ever walked on any bike or hiking trail all together, maybe I would have clocked 1,000,000 miles by now. But if I were to just count the one bike trail I'm talking about right now, it's easily 10,000 miles I've walked on that bike trail. And usually the furthest I'll go is, on average, I'll usually go 5 miles. Occasionally I'd go 7 for a total of 14. Because technically you have to walk the distance there and distance back. So usually I'll walk 2.5 miles and then walk 2.5 back for a total of 5. Sometimes 7, sometimes 14. 14 is very rare, and usually that's the times I've done that also was asking too much. Though thankfully those weren't during heat waves, but yeah, the 23 miles during a fucking heat wave was not very. And I didn't even plan that. It's just I had some stuff on my mind. So I guess I got a little lost in thought and just kept walking. And sometimes I'll go there and just walk for a mile or two and come back for a total of 4 miles. But I've probably seen that short stretch of a few miles probably 1,000 times. Heck, if you were add up all the time I've spent on that bike trail, you might have a full month of time. And aside from maybe some changing of the seasons, the trees having more leaves, less leaves, rain, snow, wind, clouds, sun, it's always the same. I don't mind. Would be nice if I had someone I could trust and felt safe with, to walk with, whether it be a platonic friend or a romantic partner. Just someone to share. Too bad there's only a couple little small creeks and streams there. I think it's nice to sit and watch, a river go by. Heck, I remember it was about almost 2 years ago I had a bladder surgery. And I was feeling a bit anxious. So I think that was the first time I ever hopped on the VR chat thing, which I very rarely do. Since then, I've done it a few times for videos, in fact. But that was always in a dead world where it's just me by myself. But I remember hopping into the VR chat thing. I'm a fairly antisocial person, I guess. But I hopped into a very lively world. It was a skyscraper in the middle of a very large city at night during a rainstorm. We have large windows. And granted, I was sitting down while I was playing the game. And of course, I don't have VR stuff, so I was just looking at the screen of my laptop with a headphones on my head. I saw the rain outside and I forgot, the whole purpose of what that game exists for. I forgot about other people, and I just walked up to the window and my avatar just stood there for an hour plus as I just stared out the imaginary window of the imaginary skyscraper at the imaginary city at night, watching the imaginary rain and listening to the imaginary rain. I probably sound very boring, and that's not an inaccurate way to describe me. I am a very laid-back, non-confrontational person. Between my lack of desire for fighting, as well as I'm an otaku, I enjoy anime and video games, and I tend to be very antisocial, withdrawn. I guess maybe the copious amounts of PTSD is not helpful either. And in general, I tend to be a very quiet, withdrawn person. And I guess the severe, long-lasting depression is not helpful. But hey, you get used to it, so whatever. My arm still hurts, by the way. Please, Mion, please change my fate. Please. First, we're going to be divided into 5 different groups. The winner from each table. It was the same rules after all. Sorry. I was holding on to a small hope. Small hopes will hurt you, Rika. You're right. You've told me so many times, but I've never learned. Hanyu has taught me so many things. She taught me the trick to swimming in the flow of destiny. The flow of destiny is just like a river's. By going with the flow, I can swim in the direction I want to some extent. But of course, trying to swim against the flow requires great effort. Allowing myself to drift causes the least amount of strain. Of course, some strong currents are impossible to resist, even with great effort. If I recklessly try to resist without realizing it's impossible, then I'll only wear myself out needlessly, just as if fighting a river's current. So Hanyu taught me to read those currents, which is why I should have easily imagined the rules would be the same the moment I learned Mian had planned today's event in advance. Yet I still wish the rules to be different, a completely wasteful action. In the end, my hopes were betrayed, only leaving my heart worn out. And things like that caused me to separate further from Rika Furude. Eventually I'll grow tired of everything, lose all interest, and die. A fate which can't be fought must be accepted. I know you can read the flow of destiny, Rika. You're right. My lifespan's already growing short. I should treasure what I have left. I sighed and pretended as though I was listening to what Mian was explaining. What's wrong, Rika-chan? Are you bored? Keiichi surprised me all of a sudden. Are you talking to me? This had never happened before, so I thought he was talking to someone else. But it seemed like Keiichi really was talking to me. Yeah, you've looked bored ever since this morning. Are you sleepy from waking up too early? I was just thinking that I've already done this before. No one would understand what I meant anyway, but Keiichi might. And so I told him how I honestly felt. Huh? Are you serious? No wonder why Mian seems so used to this. I'm looking forward to it since it's my first time, though. I envied him for feeling that way. I sighed, knowing that I never will. Why does this remind me of Ozzy Osbourne? I tell you to enjoy life. I wish I could, but it's too late. I think that's the song Paranoid. Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan have both recently died. That sucks. I saw Ozzy Osbourne in concert at some point in the past. Like the early, I think maybe 2006? Or 8? Or 10? I don't remember. Maybe 12? 14? 6? No. Somewhere between 2006 and 12, I think. I can't remember. I understand how frustrating it is to hear the same instructions over and over again. I went to cram school once and studied ahead a lot there. I remember how much I hated hearing the same lectures in school. Keiichi didn't understand me, but I'm glad that at least he understood how frustrating it was to repeat the same situation. I'm the same. I'm frustrated at school too. What? Are you really? You always seem so happy. Rika Furude is supposed to be happy at school. That's why I act that way. Hearing the same things over and over again is like torture. It's easy for me to change what Satoko cooks for dinner. I can simply volunteer to cook instead of her. But I can't change what the teacher teaches at school every day. I have no choice but to be quiet and listen to her lecture. Yeah, there's nothing you can really do. You can't just tell the teacher to move on because you already know what she's teaching you. But this is a different story. It's a game. It is a game, but it's already predetermined. You don't know that. After all, we're being split into 5 tables by drawing lots, right? Plus each group gets to choose what game their table plays. There's no way to predict what games we'll do battle over, or what exciting turnabouts await us today, but I can make a good guess. No, you can't. Keiichi smiled as he contradicted me. That smile seemed so ignorant to me. While the groups will be decided by drawing lots, each club member will be in a different group. Keiichi, you'll be sitting over there. My table will be right here. I'll be playing a fishing game. You'll be playing a game called Billionaire. I don't know how, but last time we were broken into 5 separate groups. It couldn't have been a coincidence. I'm sure Mian did something to ensure it would end up like that. I'm 100% sure. As for the games we play, I'm not totally sure, but if each member of the group follow the same thinking patterns, they'll probably end up making the same choices. If you roll dice many times, you begin to approach the average. One person's spontaneous act can be random, but multiple people's thoughts can be averaged out for the most part. The more people that are involved, the more difficult it is to alter the path of fate. That's why I'm pretty sure that we'll end up playing the same games. Keiichi seems surprised to hear my prediction. What the hell? Is that like a premonition? How can you be so sure? That's what fate is all about. Haha, fate, huh? That makes me want to smash that fate into pieces. He smiled at me again. I knew that he was just smiling without reason, but I felt a small hope from him. After all, Keiichi really did shatter fate before, but that was just a miracle that happened in my previous life. I couldn't expect him to do the same thing in this one. Otherwise, I would be worn down by high expectations again. Alright, we're going to decide our groups for drawing lots from this box. The club members go first. Mion drew first, then Satoko followed. The results were the same as last time. I really don't want to fight against the club member at the very start. I'm sorry I've got the same group, Rika-chan. Don't worry. Your table is over there. Mine is right there. Whatever you say, you watch. Ugh. Keiichi looked upset. See? My predictions are always right. It was a 20% chance anyone can make a random guess. Keiichi told me that it was just a coincidence. Then what if I predicted my seat too? What's the percentage for that? It's 20 of 20, so 4%. I'll believe you if you get it right with a percent that low. Keiichi grinned at me, believing such a chance was impossible. It's your turn, Rika-chan. Mion handed me a box full of slips. No matter what I did, I'd be getting that table. There was a reason behind it. Mion was doing something to make sure that we all got a different table. I thought about what Mion would do to do that. With that information I gathered from Mion over the many years, I could see her reasoning. She probably thinks that she'll feel bad if a member loses in the first stage. You're right. If the club members are in the same group, someone will have to lose. If everyone was in a different group, we'd all have a chance to move on to the second stage. That's why she's controlling this draw. I put my hand inside the box and I could feel several folded pieces of paper inside. But if you thought about it, it was odd. No matter which one I chose, I'd never get any other table. I wonder how she's making it so you sit at the last table. Me too, only Mion knows. All I know is that no matter which paper I choose, I'll be sitting at the last table. Ah, I got it. All the papers in this box are the same. They must be. I bet Mion set some kind of trap on this box. It was probably a box for a magic show or something. There could be some kind of gimmick inside the box, and she can switch what's inside of it. Depending on who's drawing the paper, she'd change out the lots and control the result. I didn't know exactly how, but I was sure she was doing something. I didn't even need to know how she was doing it. The most important thing was why. Meep. I don't know which one to pick. No matter which one you pick, your fate is already decided. She was admitting it herself. I was certain then. Based on what I felt inside, there were less than 10 pieces of paper inside of this box. In other words, there were hidden pieces of paper that I couldn't touch somewhere inside the box. I smiled as Mion as I figured out her trick, but she had no clue why I was smiling. I'm taking this one. Sure, let me see. Aha! Wow, the club members are all divided into separate groups. Mion behaved as though this was news to her. She's such an actress. The other contestants made a dissatisfied noise. They'd have to face a club member no matter which table they got. Keiichi was surprised too, and not only because we were divided. See? Our fate is already decided. I smiled at him in return. Keiichi was in denial for a moment, but then he smiled back at me. The possibility was 1 in 25. I'm impressed. It was not. I predicted that Mion and Satoko would be at a different table, so possible was even lower than that. Keiichi understood that, but normal people like him can't understand the meaning of fate. That's why he put it off as a coincidence. But Keiichi, what if my prediction is right about what game you'll be playing? The possibility of 1 in billions. There are lots of games in the store. What if that prediction is right too? Will he start to believe it's just a coincidence? I stayed quiet in my seat and waited to see what game my group was going to decide on. They were going to choose the fishing game. I can't expect them to choose anything other than that. I can't have high expectations. Otherwise, I'll be hurt again. Wow! That... I know I've said this about a lot of games I play. Heck, Chaos Head No was basically a Lunar D8 simulator. That being said, I feel lots of games I play with that maybe I feel a little bit too relatable to the people in the game. Why does this feel like the story of my fucking life? Both this and Rika's fucking depression. Where you have a constant feeling of like, oh, there's, you know, basically you decide to try or do anything and, well, bad things will happen just because you know, kept trying. One of the boys stood up. He walked to the shelf full of games and picked up one box. He lifted the box above his head and turned around so he could show it to us. I closed my eyes as he did so, but I could still hear what he was saying. Check this out. Do you guys remember this? We should play this one. Yeah, it's the one with the spitting fish, right? I could taste the bitter chemicals from my brain and my mouth. I do remember playing that game younger. I clenched my lips and tried to endure the numbing feeling. Ow, ow. I'm sorry. I guess I'm not doing well today. For some reason, I just can't accept this flow. It wasn't because I wasn't feeling well, of course. It was because of my emotions. Our powers are getting weaker, and we can only rewind about 2 weeks of our lives. I was feeling that the end was near for us. In order for me to change my tragic fate, I need more time to prepare. But I can only go back 2 weeks. That means my power to resist fate has significantly weakened. Even if I become as weak as a small leaf in the river, I should be able to do something in order to change my path. But if I can only go back to the point where I'm getting ready to be swallowed into the whirlpool, then there's no chance for me to escape it. I lived for so long. Believing that I could eventually escape my fate and survive, I believed that I had a chance at every moment of every life I lived. But there are limits to those chances. There are so many limits in my repeated lives, and perhaps this might be my last chance. That may be why I'm feeling so restless. Stop it, Rika. The harder you think about it, the worse it'll be on your mind. Didn't I make a whole playlist titled "To Stop Torturing Myself"? Wonder if anyone at any point is actually going to go through and go to my channel and click on the playlist button and actually read the titles for all the playlists that I have made. Just be quiet already. Ow, ow, ow. My brain was numb, as if surrounded by a gray mist. I was inside the crowded toy store, but felt very far away from everyone else. You guys remember, I think it's the song Mad World by Gary Jules? The tighter I closed my eyes, the harder I clenched my teeth, the emptier my head became. No, no, no. Rika? Rika, are you okay? Huh. As I tried to focus, I became conscious again. Han Yu looked at me with concern. I tend to lose my mind easily right after coming back from death. I usually have more time to relax and get used to my new life, but I have no time for that now. The Watanagashi festival is only 2 weeks away. I can't just relax and wait for myself to get used to things. Don't be a wimp, Rika. Don't be a wimp. Fight against fate. But even if I do, that fate always betrays me and I grieve. What if I did the opposite? What if I didn't fight against fate? A few weeks after the Tanagashi Festival of 1983, I will die because I'm fated to do so. Fight, don't fight. 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 Fight. As I repeated the same words, they started to lose all meaning, and I felt like I was chanting something. I bit my tongue in my mind and forced myself to stop thinking about it. I was calming down a little bit. When I opened my eyes, I saw the fishing game right in front of me, as well as my pole. Someone placed it there while I had my eyes closed. It was as if I was seeing the immovable reality of my fate right in front of me. It felt like a final verdict to me. What do you think, Keiichi? This is what fate is all about. Do I want to earn his agreement or his sympathy? I stood up and walked toward Keiichi's table. His group couldn't decide on a game, so the store owner was deciding for them, just like the last time. The store owner will pick the game of life. It's kind of unfair to play a game that your opponent chooses. We couldn't decide anything because we kept refusing each other's suggestions. Has your table decided on what to play? You can see it for yourself. He looked at my table and saw the fishing game there. Keiichi was surprised to see that my prediction was right again. He also remembered that I predicted his game, too. So you're saying the owner is going to bring out the game of life, just as you predicted. I'm pretty good at predicting things. Nipa. Are you serious? Alright, I'll believe you if he really brings us the game of life. You bet. Your group is going to play the game of life. Fine, I'm willing to bet you. Don't you cheat and talk him into it. He wants you to play a game he has lots of, so he'll be bringing that one out. I remember it was covered by dust when he gave it to them last time. Since we had to buy the game we lost, he was trying to sell products he had a surplus of. Therefore, he won't be choosing any game at random. He'll be looking for one with bad sales, with a strong will to do so. That will of his is going to make the pull of fate all the stronger. In that sense, there's no guarantee he'd be choosing the game of life specifically. He might choose something else that also overstocked. The owner finally reappeared with a box covered in dust. Whoa! See? I told you so. He has a game of life box in his hands. That part of me that hoped it wouldn't be the game of life tasted bitterness, the betrayal, but the cynical part of me that expected to happen found it amusing in a way. I felt like my personality was twisting more and more. Why did you pick that game? Huh? Well, I just picked it at random. I found a pile of inventory I have in the back. It's not like I brought the most beat up one. When he heard that the owner chose the game randomly, Keiichi shrugged his shoulders in confusion. That must be his way of surrendering. Hey, Rika-chan? Is this really a prediction? Nipa! Well, some old people from the village once told me that you're a reincarnation of Oyoshiro-sama. They told me that you have special powers. They said your predictions are always accurate. Is that really true? I was surprised that Keiichi actually believed the superstitious stories he heard from the elderly in the villagers. I just know that which is destined to happen. To make it clear, it's because I've already witnessed this world once before. Damn, I can't even make fun of you. Keiichi seemed like he was just fooling around. He probably thinks I'm goofing around and acting haughty because my random predictions all came true. I had hope for him. I thought the owner might bring a different game because Kiichi once had the power to change fate. But that didn't happen. I'm not surprised, but I felt betrayed again. Huh? It hurts. I won the bet. I speak to Kiichi sarcastically. I wanted him to understand that no one can change the path of fate. However, Kiichi did nothing but smile. Peh, haha. Don't get carried away, Rika-chan. Don't just say that you can read the future. For a guy, words like destiny and fate mean a lot more than you think. They're not things you can figure out that easily. Meep? I had no idea what he was trying to say, but he made me nervous. It wasn't a scary feeling. No, it was closer to hope. You said it was fate, that the owner would choose the game of life. I have to admit your prediction was correct, but you also said something else. What did I say? You said I was fated to play it. Yes, it was indeed his fate. Fate can change sometimes with uncertainty and time, but the possibility that it would change in this situation is very slight. I doubted anything would turn out differently. In that case, I'll change that fate. Eh? Keiichi stood up in a hurry. Then he started talking to Tomita and Okamura and his group members. Sorry, but I own that game at home. I know every little rule about it. What? Is that true? Yep. So that won't be a fair game for us to play. Sir, I'm sorry, but can you give us a different game? Sure. I'll bring you guys a different one. The owner picked up the game of life and took it back into storage. As I remained there in shock, he returned with a game called Pop-Up Pirate. How about this one? Oh, that's the one where we stab a knife inside the barrel. What do you think, guys? This is a fair game, isn't it? Yeah, the rules are simple enough. Let's play that one. We got a deal now. We're going to play Pop-Up Pirate. Keiichi winked at me as I stood there with my mouth open. It looked like he had just forcefully changed my prediction. But, for me, it's not that simple. It was supposed to be fate. That's why the owner brought the game of life to their table. They were supposed to play that game. That's what happened last time. That's what was supposed to happen. But he just changed that fate in front of my eyes like it was nothing. It's as if someone asked me to stand on an egg on its end. And as I struggled to do so, Keiichi forcefully cracked the egg and made it stand up in front of me. I should have had a far greater power than Keiichi, but why was I feeling so weak? Was it because I wasn't trying to fight against fate, so I wouldn't get hurt? Because I was going with the flow without trying too hard? What was I thinking? You looked so bored just a few minutes ago. I know why. You didn't want to play the fishing game, did you? Yeah, I'm not going to hide it anymore. Then that's easy. So I'm a witch who's been living for more than 100 years? So I thought I was better than everyone? Just because I can see the paths of fate? That's stupid. I really am so stupid. Keiji tapped me on the back. He was urging me to return to my table. The sensation of his touch filled up my heart with emotion. I wasn't going to stand idly by anymore. I thought I couldn't cheat fate. I thought 2 weeks wasn't enough, but Keiji just defied his fate in a matter of 5 minutes. I feel bad for the fishies when I play the fishing game. I want to play something else. The other people at my table looked at me with confused expressions. Their reactions were scaring me. Right at that moment, I could really feel that I was facing the impenetrable wall of fate. Even so, I have nothing to be scared of. Sure, what game do you want to play? We'll play whatever you want. They accepted my suggestion and gave up on the fishing game so easily. That's right, I used to be much more aggressive before, but I became so tired. That's right, I used to be much more aggressive before, but I became so tired and bitter and mean, I gave in to fate. But I'm not going to yield anymore. Keiichi taught me that. He didn't have any memories of his previous life, but Keiichi was still Keiichi. He'd never given to fate. For the first time in a long while, I feel motivated to fight. If I want to, I can change destiny in 5 minutes. and I have 2 whole weeks to work with. I'm different now. I'm going to fight against fate. Let's do our best. In contrast to my motivation, Hanyu was wearing a sad expression. I see. We can't hold you here if you have to go help your uncle. Yeah, it's a pretty small store after all. But, you know, couldn't he have guessed that if he did a bargain sale, his place would be packed? I can't believe he's selling a carton of eggs for 10 yen. As we were getting ready to move on to the next stage, Mion got a call from work. This was fated to happen too. If I was still feeling depressed, I would have been disgusted with the situation. But after learning what it felt like to change fate, I was in a good mood. Keiichi and Mion seemed like they kept regretting that they were unable to settle the match. They really are such good friends. They're so close. I feel kinda jealous. How? We really do not have any other boys his age in our class, do we? I suppose Mion-san is something like a male friend to Keiichi-san. Ha ha ha, but Mi-chan is a girl. She can't be another guy for him. Of course, I know that, but when they are together, they look like two boys hanging out. Rena and Satoko enjoyed the lingering excitement of the days as they watched Mion and Keiichi happily goof off. I do feel that regardless of what gender orientation you are, whether you're a guy and a girl, girl and a girl, guy and a guy, I think the best relationships would be people who are just really good friends. Plus, you know, romance and sexual tension too, and intimacy. Those are important. But, I'm just saying, I think emotional bonds and actually caring about and knowing and being close to emotionally with the other person, basically being close friends. Like it's... Like, imagine if you're in a romantic relationship with somebody that you actually enjoy sharing your hobbies with. That being said, I don't think that's actually been true for me a single time in my life. I don't think anyone I've ever dated in any way really liked the idea of wanting to go walk on a bike trail or play a video game with me. Though I did make those suggestions quite a bit. That's a disappointment, but oh well. Happily goof off. The next moment, the owner came out from the store. Thank you for today, everyone. You brought me a lot of customers. He was holding 4 paper bags in his hands. I remember he gave us gifts as a reward for today. I think there were dolls inside. Here are your rewards for today. Hey, Uncle Yoshiro. Don't I get one? He was giving them only to us. Mion didn't get anything because she's a family member. That's what happened last time, too. Oh, look, something cute is inside. Satoko let out a cheer of joy as she saw a cute doll inside of her bag. Rena reacted the same way. Wow, this is so cute. I can take it home with me. Really? Did I get one too? Wow, look at this cute doll. Keiichi got a gorgeous, expensive-looking doll. It was by far the best one. It was adorable, even to my eyes. Satoko, Rena, and Mion were feeling the same way. Ha, Kei-chan got the one that fits him the least. Mion started making fun of him right away. She was only saying that because she was jealous that Keiichi got a doll that she really wanted. This is pretty and cute. I can admit that, but it's not really my type of toy. Yeah, people will think you're a pervert if you carry that thing around. Mion just can't be honest with herself. It was obvious that she was trying to make him give up the doll so she could have it herself. She should just admit that and ask Kiichi for it. But that's the cute side of Mion. I bet Kiichi can never understand that. Hee. Kiichi can't keep the doll after receiving that much bullying from Mion. He was thinking about who he should give it to. He probably didn't want to give it to Mion. Time froze for a moment. Hanyu whispers something in my ear. Rika? We're about to have a red flag event. Do you remember? Yes. I advised him on who he should give the doll to. I did nothing and watched events unfold. We'll let Keiichi try on his own. Let's see what happens, guys. I thought about telling Keiichi to give the doll to Mion, but I stayed quiet because I wanted to believe in him. Don't let us down, Keiichi. When we were in the same situation in a previous life, Keiichi gave the doll to Rena. Mion was deeply hurt by that, and the tragedy began shortly after that. If I didn't do anything and just watched him now, things were going to end up the same way. But I'm sure that Keiichi deeply regretted the fact that he didn't give the doll to Mion in that previous world. He did. And while I was aware he didn't have any memories from that world, I was hoping that his heart vaguely remembered that strong emotion. I challenged him without telling him anything. Keiichi is contemplating whether he should give the doll to Mion or Rena. He finally opens his mouth. Mion, if you think I would look like a pervert with this doll, who do you think deserves to have it? Huh? I don't know. All I'm saying is that this dolls aren't for boys. I see. Then I guess you can have it. Here. Keiichi tossed the doll to Mion, as if passing her a basketball. As if forcing her to carry his bag or something. Mion's face quickly turned red. Feeling shy, Keiichi turned away from her. That was amazing. Keiichi just made a miracle happen again. He did it without any memory of his previous life. It was exactly the same situation as in a previous world, but he made a totally different decision. Keiichi? Rika, this might just be a coincidence, you know? A strong will is directly related to fate. If his will to give the doll to Rena was weak, this might have been a result of that. But I don't feel it was just a coincidence. I believe that Keiichi remembers something in his heart, and because of that, he made some progress. He has made some progress. Mion, having turned red instead, insisted that the cute doll would be a much better fit for Rena. Her attitude made it clear that she really wanted the doll, but couldn't be honest about it. This old man just thinks that cute dolls like this are more for girly girls, you know? This doll doesn't deserve to be owned by a tomboy like me, ha 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 ha. By the way, don't know if I count to give this. I don't even know the correct word. It's not advice or suggestion or opinion. But like... So I probably don't count. Because... Well... In general, I'm a failure of a human being, and I just... I mean, maybe opinions don't count from somebody that's worthless. But, that being said, a tall, athletic, skinny, busty, cute-in-the-face tomboy who likes to play video games and watch anime with me would be pretty fucking awesome. I guess what I'm saying is this. Girls, if you're a tomboy, that's fucking awesome. In the same regard, if you're a girly girl, that's also awesome. Like, here's the thing. I think Mion, Shion, Retta, all very awesome. Takano, maybe if she wasn't, a serial killer. But, I'm just saying, there are some, things I would consider deal breakers. Serial killer being one of them. Would not be into dating a serial killer. Lunar says that, given his track record of dating people who are fucking psychotic. To be fair, I did not know they were psychotic. Heck, the worst part of that is said individuals were people that I thought, I could be safe around and trust, and it's like, hey, Lunar thought this person would never betray them in any way, or be psycho. He was wrong about everything. But aside from my own personal bullshit, I'm just saying, women that are tomboys, I think that's pretty awesome. I would actually think it'd be pretty cool if there was a woman who wanted to watch anime and play some video games with me, and also maybe had her own video games to play, and because I would still want to play my own solo games too. Like, heck, you guys ever play the Path of Exile game? It's like Diablo. The only thing I don't like about those games is, one, you don't have infinite inventory space. I don't want to manage an inventory. I just want to collect 1 billion items. 2, is that eventually if you're out-leveled from enemies enough, you get 0 experience. I want all enemies, even if it's literally the smallest, 1 point of experience, I feel I should be able to go back to the very beginning stages, even in the end game, and still accumulate experience. Even if it's so slow, I'd probably never level from it. I'd still want something. And don't be wrong, a woman can be both a tomboy and a girly girl. You don't have to be one or the other. Human personalities aren't one-dimensional. We're not fucking Ned Flanders here. Okay? The whole idea of Flanderization is where you take a character in an anime or a video game or any piece of fictional media, and you focus on the character so much about one trait, you can make them one-dimensional. For example, Ned Flanders was just supposed to be your average dude who sometimes went to church, but they over-focused on certain elements, and they made that his entire personality. Same thing with Goku. Goku was never supposed to be an unromantic, dumbass. But they kept playing it up for laughs in the show, and eventually it became he was known as, it became a recurring thing, to where even Team 4-Star leaned even more heavily into it, to where it's just accepted that Goku's just stupid, but he's not stupid. Goku is actually pretty smart. It's just, why would you expect the guy living in the woods to know calculus? But I would expect that if Goku, actually did some, imagine a timeline where Goku, imagine if Dr. Brief built a time chamber earlier on, and Goku had more access to sensu beans, and actually, married Bulma. And heck, from the early on age, from Bulma first met him, let's say instead of her getting together with Yamcha, she got together with Goku. And Goku, and of course they didn't start romantically being involved immediately, but let's say after a few years. But I'm just saying, imagine if Goku's there at Bulma's house, and imagine if Dr. Brief actually tutored Goku. I imagine Goku could be a lot stronger and very intelligent. So he'd both be an incredibly intelligent scientist, but I'd imagine he'd actually be able to be a Super Saiyan before Raditz ever showed up. Same way, the unromantic part is, it was never supposed to be that Goku was like unromantic. Now, of course, he's not supposed to be a fucking like pervert degenerate either. But the main point is this: Akira Toriyama never wrote about that stuff because he didn't want his show to be about that. Plus, he himself didn't really feel that he was very good at writing romance stuff, so he wanted to stick to what he felt more confident about, which was action and comedy. Plus, again, he wanted his show to be predominantly about action and comedy, but it doesn't mean that other stuff doesn't exist. I mean, maybe like imagine like, okay, do you ever see anyone eating a bowl of cereal with milk in an anime? If you never do, does that mean milk and cereal don't exist? A lot of times things are left out of a show for either time constraints. I mean, heck, take a lot of visual novels like Overlord or Reincarnate as a Slime. There's things that get left out because either there's just not enough time to put that into a show, whether it be a movie or an anime, otherwise it'd be so long, or it's just budget issues, or certain things don't translate well from a actual novel of thousands and millions of words to, an animation. Plus, another thing is this: even without someone like me going on fucking tangents and just getting distracted and going on, talking about whatever, a visual novel, even if I were to read it like a speed reader and stay entirely focused on it, the visual novel will be a much longer experience than the anime. Even if the anime were to faithfully adapt every single thing. And of course, many animes actually have filler or extra scenes, which in many cases can be really, really good if done right. Now, of course, there's some animes where they either change the plot of the story entirely, hence Full Metal Alchemist, because the manga was much further behind and they wanted to finish the anime in a much more timely manner. So they finished and made a whole new... So the start of it was based on the manga, but then they wound up changing the story. And it was like a decade to 2 decades later that the actual manga got finished, so they actually animated so it was 2 different stories. And of course, there's lots of animes, Bleach and Naruto, that do add in some filler to where that people got irritated with it because they felt there was just so much filler. And of course, sometimes people feel the writing of filler is subpar. And also sometimes people feel irritated because they're looking forward to the main plot. And you have all these extra episodes which in their own right aren't bad, but you feel frustrated because you're looking forward to the main story. And you're like, okay, get this fucking bullshit over with so get back to the main story. It's not that you don't appreciate having a little extra story. And then, of course, sometimes you feel that the extra stuff added in an anime adaptation could be not in keeping of what you like, if what you feel is in spirit of the actual original source material. Heck, some people, like, there's some adaptations of things that get adapted from books or even lore to TV shows or movies that people feel isn't faithful to what they think it should be, and they feel many of the characters get just rewritten in ways that they feel never should be. I don't know if there's any good examples of this, but imagine, it doesn't even have one that actually has, an actual remake made of it, but imagine the anime you grew up with, and, someone, take Dragon Ball Z. Imagine if someone else took over Dragon Ball Z. Akira Toriyama, he passed away, which he'll be missed. Heck, the author of Berserk also passed away several years before that. Though I remember him saying in an interview shortly before his death that the manga was only 1/3 done what he wanted it to be. which I really don't know where that story's going to go. But like, imagine if someone rewrote Goku in a way that you felt was completely against. Like, imagine if you read only the original Dragon Ball, or heck, the original Dragon Ball and the original Dragon Ball Z, and that's all you ever read or watched, and then someone made a new adaptation of Goku and wrote his personality in a way that you felt dishonored the hero you grew up with. You felt, one, was basically like rubbing shit on a character that you were very proud of, that you're like, yeah, Goku's awesome for this and this reason, and you feel like they're just like ruining your character. Or even if they're not even doing something you feel ruins the character, but you feel like they're writing the character in a way that they never should be. Which, it's a delicate balance there, because characters should be able to evolve. They should be able to grow. I mean, real people are like that. Real people do, change and grow and adapt. That's how life is. But it should have a logical reason, and it should be, like, obviously, it should be possible to change Goku in any way possible. But there has to be a logical reason for that to occur. Now, whether or not that logical reason occurs or not, well, that depends on the skill of the writer. Did I just make a Zone of the Enders reference? Jyoti has the power to rival Anubis, but to bring out its full potential, that depends on the skill of the runner. I still say, Zone of the Enders, the second runner, very awesome mech game. Heck, speaking of mech games, they're like another anime that has various writing styles where the stories can be very different. Gundam Wing, G Gundam, Gundam Mobile Suit. Heck, Tenchi Muyo, Tenchi Universe, Tenchi Tokyo. I'll say this, I like the original Tenchi Muyo the best, but I also like the Tenchi Universe and Tenchi Tokyo stuff. Heck, there's Tenchi AI, Tenchi GXP, Tenchi War and Geminar. All of them are really good. I really do like all of them. Now, granted, there are some thematic decisions, especially with AI Tenchi, that I feel are questionable, but I still like that the anime got made, and I still enjoy it. Now, I would say I definitely, when the original Tenchi Muyo, Washu, Mihoshi, and Ryoko, definitely have a crush for them. They're all very, very beautiful. Heck, I'm quite certain I frequently fantasize the idea of being married to any of those three. Also, Kiyone from Tenchi Universe, because technically the design of Kiyone in Tenchi Universe is different from her counterparts in the other versions of the story, which I believe she goes by Noike in Tenchi Muyo. And again, that's a very late, she gets introduced very late in that, whereas in Tenchi Universe she's very much earlier on. But Kiyone from Tenchi Universe is also I think she looks very beautiful. Then again, there's lots and lots of very sexy women in the Tenchi series. Heck, some of there's Airi Misaki and Zeto, Lady Zeto from Tenchi Muyo GXP. Yeah, she has big boobs. I forget what I was talking about. Alright, tomboys. Yeah. I'm just saying, a woman can be a tomboy and a girly girl. I mean, people aren't really defined by, what they do one day. Like, just because you play basketball doesn't mean you can't also enjoy something, girl. Like, if you're a woman and you play on a basketball team, it doesn't mean you're less of a woman. Same way, I, as a guy who's an otaku, I actually think it'd be pretty awesome for, a woman to actually be into anime and video games and manga. I mean, heck, imagine if you're on a date with a cute girl and she really is into manga too. Heck, imagine all of you out there. You're on a date with somebody and just think about whoever it is you are attracted to. Because we all have different tastes, though I'll say this. I have met easily 1 million women in my lifetime that I all thought was attractive. Unfortunately, I am real life Mimikyu, so I'm ugly as fuck. But aside from me being an eldritch whore, back to the question I was asking. To all of you out there, imagine you go on a date with whoever it is that you think is attractive. So by whatever standard you, the listener, rate beauty on, you are on a date with somebody that you think on both the inside and outside, both in personality and in physical appearance, is the most beautiful person, most attractive, most sexy person you can imagine. And they like you. And you go back to their place, and they have an entire fucking bookshelf full of manga. I'd like that. I don't know if you guys would. Anyway. I know that you want it. It's written all over your face. No. No. It's not written on my face. You're lying. Stop being mean. Mion shook her head with an embarrassed look, pretending she wasn't interested in the doll. Everyone here knew that she wanted it. We all looked at Mion with big smiles on our faces. Hey, it's not like I can only give this doll to a girl. Just think of it as my gift to you as a friend. Is that so? So you'd give this doll to a boy, too? Well, I would choose something else if I had a choice. But, anyway, guys would never reject a gift unless there's something shady going on. It's just me being generous. Why would you refuse it? Oh, so I can accept this doll, even though I'm not a girly girl? Yes. Everyone thought Mion's reaction was hilarious. Rena couldn't stop chuckling. Satoko and I burst out laughing too. Mion, having realized she was being laughed at, got even more embarrassed. I'm offering this to you as a friend. I don't want to hear that you're not cherishing it. Okay. Again, I agree with that statement. That I'm the kind of person that if I were to give a gift to someone I care about, I want them to cherish the gift. It's not like I'm expecting, for example, if I were to give someone a stuffed animal, I care much more about the concept that they're actually cuddling and hugging the stuffed animal than I do about them finding some way to repay me. Or, because at the end of the day, what's it matter if you say thank you, all that, and then you just throw it in a box or throw it away or sell it. The whole idea was you have this thing and you cherish it because it was a gift from me. And every time you see it, you care about it because you value me and you value that I care about you. It's about other human beings actually mattering to you. I like the idea of mattering to somebody and that person liking that they matter to me and liking that them mattering to me matters to... Okay, I can't phrase it right, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. This old man just wants to make clear that he's not accepting this because he wants this doll. He's taking it because you said it's a gift from you. As a friend, he's taking it as a courtesy so he doesn't He's taking it as a courtesy so he doesn't disrespect your generosity. Hanyu was cracking up too. She was laughing at a loud voice, knowing that no one could hear her anyway. But was this really a good way to resolve the problem? I thought that Mion's issue in the previous life was that she wanted Keiichi to treat her girl like a girl. She got the doll, but Keiichi still wasn't treating her that way. Still, Mion looked very happy. Maybe it wasn't a big deal after all. I'm sure that Mion will take the doll with her to bed tonight. She'll kiss it goodnight too. I could bet on that. Like I said, if I was Keiichi, I would want her to hug the doll and give it a kiss goodnight. Because it means that it means something to her, and that she cares about it, and that it makes her happy. It was written all over her face. She's finally accepted it. It was a challenge just for me to give her a doll. Keiichi turned around to face us, smiling bitterly. Haha, you did it though. Yep, it was perfect. I'm impressed that you managed it. Mion-san was hilarious. It was obvious the moment you looked that she really wanted the doll. Isn't that the truth? Ah ha 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 ha. Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys. Are you saying rude things about this old man? Knock it off already. Don't you have to get to work? You're going to be late. You guys better watch yourselves. Mion seemed like she wanted to stay longer, but after looking at her watch, she started heading to work. Everyone was wearing smiles on their faces. Today was such a fun day. Everyone had lots of fun, and no one was hurt. I have repeated the same day so many times before, but this time, something was different. It's like I rolled a die and got a 6, and then I rolled it again and got a 6 again. I don't know if this was just a lucky coincidence, or if it was meant to be. It's as if the god of fate is celebrating my motivation to fight against him. Good times with Oyoshira-sama. Next time on Dragon Ball Z. The game of life. One road leads to another. Well, later, guys.